Monkey Man. A lot of people loved it, including myself, but some hated this movie's guts. With a 70 Metacritic score, audiences generally like this movie. Some reviews are ridiculous, some give good points, and others are just straight glazing. Today in this video, we're going to go through them all in a new series I've introduced to the channel called Bad Reviews for Good Movies.
Here we go!
User KL Middleton 13 gave it a 1 out of 10 rating and says,
"One of the worst movies I've ever witnessed. I contemplated 5 to 7 times to walk out the theater."
Okay, so first of all, if you thought about leaving the theater 5 to 7 times and you didn't, you weren't going anywhere. Stop it.
The plot was horrible and only started trying to kick butt the last 20 minutes. Don't waste your money or time.
Okay, making a pacing argument for this movie is actually insane. There was not an issue with the pacing at all. And with a 2-hour runtime, this movie, like, starting to pick up 20 minutes later isn't bad to not see any fighting yet. I think a lot of people are trying to compare this to John Wick, where this action right out the gate, you get right into it, and that's the problem. You know, just say you have ADHD and move on, nigga. Like, what?
Time is more valuable than a horrible movie. The acting is by far some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
Yeah, you're not for real, bro.
It jumped around way too much and it started to become confusing.
I'll give you that. Camera focus was a problem, and I did mention that to some people that I knew. It was hard to get a sense of place or context in the movie because of that, so with this part of the critique, I do agree. I'm still not taking you seriously after what you just said about the acting, bro. You crazy.
The build-up was so slow that there wasn't anything to look forward to. Keep your money and time. You'll have just as much fun as you do getting up and going to work. The theater's lucky they had the AC so cold that I can't fall asleep.
Damn, the AC was too cold too. This motherfucker was going through it in the theater. Why did you stay? You contemplated leaving 7 times, you didn't like the movie, and the theater was cold? That's such a horrible movie experience. I guess you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's a bad one, but I'm thinking you're more mad about the movie experience than the actual movie itself. How are you sitting there cold? User Igor S gave it a 1 out of 10 and says, "I wanted to like this movie because I like Dev Patel, and I appreciate his effort, but it was unwatchable for me. I could barely keep my food inside my stomach while watching this due to all the shaky cam action scenes." Bro, it was not that bad. Like, you're about to throw up watching the movie. Come on, bro. Like, motherfuckers putting extras on it. And I don't even have vision problems or anything. It's just that nowadays it's inexcusable to have a movie shot like this. If you're going to kind of emulate John Wick, at least take the best/second best thing it has. Stable camera action scenes where you can actually see what's happening. And there goes that John Wick comparison again. Dev Patel has the fighting skills to easily accomplish this without it looking bad. And even if it did, it wouldn't look worse than this. In many of John Wick's scenes, you can see Keanu isn't the most athletic, young, skilled person. I'll give you he might not be young or athletic, but skilled? John Wick? But at least you can see everything. It makes it so much better. I don't know how so many people love this and could watch it. Again, it hurts me to say this, Dev Patel is awesome, but this is not acceptable. Okay, so earlier I agree with the whole camera shaky, hard to follow sentiment about the movie, so I'll give you that, but does a John Wick comparison and a shaking camera warrant a 1 out of 10 here? Come on now. If your only 2 complaints about the movie were shaky camera and it sucks compared to John Wick, then everything else was fine. That's not a fair rating to give it. User Rakesh Harkishan 16 gives it a 1 out of 10 and says, "Crap." Okay. An anonymous user gives us a 2.5 out of 10 and says,
Dev Patel should stick to acting. If I wanted to see John Wick, I'll actually go see John Wick.
Then go watch John Wick, nigga. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Why are you here? Like, you're here complaining about this movie isn't being John Wick. Are you serious? Go watch John Wick then. User Zizik R gives it a 2 out of 10 and says, "The camera never stopped shaking." Shaking? Whatever. And the several fight scenes were blurry and in dark rooms. The fights where I could see them were very fun. I also didn't like how fast the movie jumped to fighting the city's sinister elite. I felt like the movie wanted to do many things, but overall it's a fun movie, and Dev Patel and Charlito Copley, I hope I'm saying that right, did a great job with their characters. Okay, so we got a level-headed person here, alright? A very solid review of the movie, but I do have to push back on a 2 out of 10. Again, does the blurry screens and the fast pacing really warrant a 2 out of 10 to this movie? Unless you didn't state all of your problems with this movie, if that's just your issues, then 2 out of 10, I don't think so. User Concern C gives it a half a star out of 10 and says, "Another action flick using just action stuntmen without proper insurance and agent making fees. I pity the struggling actors forced to do roles like this. Fell asleep." What? Concerned? See, I'm concerned about you. Like, what's your life like, nigga? Like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Is there some background info about this movie that I don't know about? I don't even know what to say to this. Is there some like controversy going on with the stuntman and agents and insurance fee? I don't know. I don't know what to say to this. User Brad also gives it a half a star out of 10 and says, trying to understand some of these other reviews. We go to the movies 2 to 3 times per month, and this is the worst movie we've seen since Tenet. Just horrible. The non-stop close-ups with the shaky camera just multiplied the misery. Okay, Brad. The fact that you thought Tenet was a bad movie tells me everything I need to know. I love how you try to preface this by saying we go to the movies 2 to 3 times a month, like what he's about to say is about to be valid some way. Like, man, you ain't valid. Get the fuck out of here, right? Another anonymous user gives it a 2.5 out of 10 and says, it's a John Wick knockoff and that's not entirely a bad thing. Then why did you give it a 2.5? I don't understand. Like, you know what? I respect this. He said, you know what? It ain't ass, but it ain't John Wick either. I feel him. User Brian S gives it a 1.5 out of 10 and says, repetitive fight scenes without much of a plot. Repetitive fight scenes without much of a plot. What does that mean for an action movie? It's an action movie. Like, what do you mean repetitive fight scenes? Do you want less fight scenes in an action movie about fighting? Huh? User Sabah Pesto 21 gives it a 1 out of 10 and says, why is everyone so dumb in this film? Why are you so... I'm done. So I watched Monkey Man twice and I can't sit here and lie and say it's a terrible movie. Did it have his hiccups? Yes. Shaky camera, hard to see fight scenes? Sure. But this movie hit the basic metrics of a quality movie, which is why giving it anything close to a 1 out of 10 is kind of absurd to me. But hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, even if it's a bad one. I don't... whatever. If you want to say give it a half a star out of 10 and 1 out of 10 because why is everyone in this movie so dumb? Sure. I can't agree with you, but I have to respect your opinion, I guess. I personally have to agree with the Metacritic on this one and give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good movie that gives you everything you would want out of an action movie. But that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a video that I enjoy recording and doing research on. Some of y'all be wilding when it comes to these reviews, I swear, but I'm about to be more consistent with the uploading because I've been terrible with that recently. Been behind the scenes making sure the quality of everything is always improving, and this series is just a start of that. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next video.